ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to meeting number 8 of the Shadow Society Book Club. We are officially into part 3 of this lovely book called Red Rising, and it has gotten interesting to say the least. Um, as always, does anybody have anything else they need to bring up or any place they want to start before we just kind of start throwing out these random chat GPT questions? Fun! He's here but listening. What's up, dude? Um, so okay, in that case, let's jump right in. So as we all knew from the end of part 2, Darrow murders Julian, and our boy Cassius still has no idea, which is going to be interesting. So these guys are getting close, and they get through the first part of this school, and now they're being set up against each other to see who can basically, what's the best way to put it? Create an empire, right? I think that's probably a good way to say it. Um, let's see. Darrow kills Julian without knowing who he is. Do you think that the way that the moment was handled was fair, brutal, or both? How do you think it will affect Darrow long term? Anybody got any
I think he did
quiet?
what he had to do. I think the
Yeah,
more violence he has to enact on others, um, I'm assuming it'll like kind of carry with him throughout the books based on the character
right.
they're developing so far. But he seems to be less and less concerned about it as we move on.
He doesn't get much choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Um, but then, of course, Cassius and Darrow are now pretty much close from the jump, right? And so now these two are um, getting pretty like the only thing that stands between them is the fact that somebody has to become the Prius, right? So, um, do we think that when Cassius finds out, he'll be torn, or is he going to fight back immediately?
I thought it was Primus. I don't think they're
What
turning
I,
into a Karnak.
I was gonna
uh,
correct you, but I didn't.
Well, I didn't realize they were going to be a '90s band either. Okay, that's fine. Either way,
Yeah.
they can be a Primus or a Prius. I think either way, uh, similar powers probably. Um, Actually, Primus was a pretty good band. What I said, Prius? That's okay. I'm cute right now. I just lost twice, by the way. We were playing Dice Throne with Amy, and I lost back-to-back games, and I'm a little butthurt right now. So if I seem a little short, I apologize. Yeah. So now that does anybody think Cassius is going to do anything other than try to kill him when he finds out that Darrow killed his brother?
Don't think so. Don't chime in too much.
Mom
I think-
finished the book.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
killed it. Nice.
Saying anything.
I think Cassius is probably pretty petty, but I don't think he's necessarily going to try and kill him because I don't think that would win him many favors, except for with the people who don't like him.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering if he even finds out till school's out. Like, I think he maybe not even find out till much later. Hard to say. Um, do we feel like Darrow is starting to lose sight of EO's dream, or is he becoming more like the Golds pretty quickly?
I think he's learning to connect with people that he never thought he'd be able to connect with because of the situation that they're in. But I don't think he's lost sight of why he's there.
You know, it's
Trying to
very
get through.
similar to Vin. With
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
it's very similar to that, just different, you know?
Right.
And I think
Better
that
written.
he's assimilating very well into the society, and it's a thing where they're going to learn, oh, the Reds are the same as us, you know,
Mhm.
instead of, you know, it being the Ska are the same as us, you know, it's going to be very similar.
Interesting. And that easy assimilation almost to the point of like too involved. He's almost like too it was interesting when he decided like, okay, I just have to kill Julian. Um how like he had to deal. He like it tore him up for like a split second, and then he realized like I haven't had to do anything other than like basic physical feats in this new body, and now I've got to figure out what I'm capable of. And he just kind of like said, "Ah, well," and off he went. So it's interesting to see that he now is kind of accepting of that. But every time he gets into something that's a little unnerving, he kind of has to question himself. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Can I take on Titus? Can I, who's going to be next? Oh, there's five guys in the grass. Am I going to be able to do this? Although he seems to adapt really well. So I'm interested to see how this evolution continues.
I think
So
him being in the being what's the title he had? When he was as a red.
Oh, the driller?
Yeah, the driller.
yep.
I think that as his position, he was already adapted to being under extreme circumstances, both physically and mentally, his because of his responsibilities and his job. So I think this is just a like translating that into just a different environment at this point.
Right. He definitely learned a lot being in the tunnels.
You guys, that's another parallel to Mistborn because Kelsier climbed out the pits and had scars all over his hands. And he talks about the scars on his hands that Reds get from being a Helldiver. Like,
Helldiver, thank you.
we're reading the same book, just different.
I feel like most fantasies that
Yeah.
is same but different.
That's interesting. I didn't even think of it. I'm going to be honest. I haven't made many parallels to Mistborn in anything. I like the way this reads a lot better than I did Mistborn. So I've kind of forgotten about Mistborn already. We'll go back eventually, I'm sure. But um, yeah, that's interesting. You're right. It's just like the exact same thing over and over. Cool.
Yeah.
So Darrow earns the name Reaper. Do you think that title symbolizes something? Do you think he's earned it yet?
Honestly, when I think of a Reaper, I think of the scary creature that lives in the radiation zones in Ark, the online game, because that's what I think of. I don't think of like a Grim Reaper, but I think of this weird, scary creature that's like elusive and hard to tame and hard to kill and all that stuff. So in that sense, I definitely was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. He's a Reaper. But then thinking that they probably mean a Reaper as in like a Grim Reaper, a Reaper, But um I don't know that he's earned it. I think he's just more cold-hearted about the outwardly about it because he's so separated from them that I think he's realizing he's a gold now, but there's still that disconnect internally, and that's what they're picking up on and why they see that he's able to do these things without much remorse.
Hmm. Yeah, agreed. I would agree with you. Um, he does almost slip at one point and refers to the golds as you all instead of we. Um, and has almost given himself away. Luckily, nobody else picked it up, but you can tell he's like living on eggshells and stuff. I think that he is not quite the Reaper yet. I don't think that uh, he hasn't done quite enough to be that, other than just the fact that he picked up the scythe, right? Like the question mark shaped blade. Um, but I think otherwise he's still. It's crazy how with all of these people who are supposed to be like born killers, he kind of sort of naturally is become like staying at the front of the pack, even though he knows literally nothing about them other than some basic info. So there's a little bit of what I would consider to be like an unnatural advantage, but um, good for him. He's doing it. Um, we noticed that some students embrace violence, others focus on loyalty and politics. What leadership traits do you think the Institute is going to actually reward?
A combination of the two.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Who's not going to
balance.
kill everybody off for the sake of violence, but who's not afraid to lift a hand and
doesn't have any remorse.
doesn't have remorse behind it. Yeah.
Mm.
I think just dominance overall, right? Because that's the whole thing about the faction of being golds is that they are the dominant group or dominant
Right.
color. Right? They're the ones who are paving the way for everybody else to kind of follow suit. So I think that just dominance, whether it is through violence or through helping others or through any means to maintain dominion over your peers and everybody else to be seen as that dominant person, I think is what they word.
Awesome. Anybody else? No. Hi, Christy. It's good to see you. She's so far ahead. Okay. Let's see. What else do I have here? The proctors have been kind of interesting. The instructors, they're supposed to be impartial, but obviously are not. Um, the question here says, how do you feel about their actions, basically? Do you feel like they reflect the corruption of the society?
Yeah.
Oh, I just heard one. Nope. Okay, cool. Um,
I think that some of them do. Some of them are very, I want to keep comparing it to Hunger Games where like you're in District 1 and everything's just a laugh.
mm,
Serious. The fact that people are dying is not serious. It's um what's his face? The proctor for their group. I'm so bad with names. Um
get his name too. I'm really bad with these names
very
also.
he's very I feel like he's coming at it at a very different angle.
Mm,
I don't think he's as blasé. I think he's a little he behaves a
Sitchner.
little more jaded.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Fishman's
Fitchner, right?
definitely interesting. Yeah. He's definitely an intriguing character.
He seems darker. Like all of them seem to be very like we're high society and but he's just like just very grungy behavior almost
Mm.
to
Is
them.
he the one that's almost they kind of describe him as being sickly?
No, that's
Oh,
Fitchner
I
is the
forget
one
that
who
kid's name
like
too.
is their proctor, who is like their guide, the person like kind of controlling the stuff that has the power to stop stuff or give them stuff.
Okay, because I remember one of them being one of the golds that are proctors being described as not being as strong or as
He's got a pot
or
belly.
weak.
Oh,
Huh?
He's got a pot belly in his description.
Pot belly. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay. All right. All right.
I was thinking of
Who doesn't?
the wolf. The
Yeah.
wolf.
He's an interesting character.
I,
I think he's going to go really far.
I think he's probably like becoming my favorite character.
Mhm.
He's intriguing, very multifaceted, lots of layers there. But Fitchner, I think there's something else going on there because he definitely has like an interesting motive for his actions, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, Severo, Juan, Severo.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Not bad for a guy who's 3 books ahead. That was pretty good. Um, yeah, he's got all the names on lock. Okay, so I wonder if we're getting foreshadowed, and I wonder if we'll see some of those people later. Um, cool. Do you believe that at this point Darrow is really going to bring down the society from within, or is he at risk of becoming the very thing he is trying to destroy?
That is the question, isn't it?
Indeed, indeed. It's almost too easy a question. Uh, I'm so interested to see now that I know that there's like so many books ahead of us. I'm really interested to see where this book leaves off in this world and like how far he gets before they decide like to be continued. Um, I sort of almost want to just like assumingly say yes, like how could it end any other way? Um, but you never know. Never know. We could all be super surprised. Does anybody, so far, we haven't seen any sort of positive interaction between him and Antonia. But we talked last week about the potential for that to be the next love of his life, right? So does anybody still think that's a possibility? And do we think it'll happen in this book?
No.
Antonio?
Yeah, there was like that whole no, it wasn't Antonia. It was
You mean Mustang?
Mustang, yeah.
Oh, is that what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what I mean. 2 for 2
Yep.
today. Good
Or
for me.
from Minerva?
Right.
From
Yes.
yeah.
Kelsey just said Mustang too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
think there's still potential there. Antonio, no way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely not.
yes.
I think it's gonna be like an unrequited love. I think he's gonna see Io in her,
Hmm.
and then she's not gonna reciprocate the feelings.
Oh. Okay.
That's
Okay.
my pick.
Okay. Interesting. Did anybody have any aha moments in this part of the book?
I mean, can we talk about Titus?
Yeah.
The fact that, there obviously are more Reds involved.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot that. When he realized, because he called it a sling blade, and he said bloody instead of gory, and
Yep.
all the things, and then he let Cassius kill him. Yes, yes.
So do we
Do you
think
know what
that
it reminded me of? Honestly, was Captain America when Stanley Tucci's the doctor guy. He looks for the right person and he decides on Steve Rogers because he has a good heart, and then you see Red Skull like creation of him because he tried the serum first or something, and it just like it made him into like a villain. But with Steve Rogers, like it made him nice. So it's like with Titus, it was like maybe it pulled more in because Darrow was so like just simple and good natured, and had such love for Io that when he went through this transformation, it was similar to Steve Rogers with Captain America, and it just like made him this like person that's not rage.
or maybe Titus didn't have an EO. Maybe he was just picked.
Interesting. I'm glad somebody brought it up.
Do we think that there are more Reds? That maybe they lied to him about how many didn't make it?
Or they don't know.
Potentially. I feel like you do, Lauren. Do you feel like
No, I haven't read ahead, so
oh,
I have not read
okay.
ahead. I'm sticking with
Okay. All right.
keeping their mouth shut.
Okay. Interesting.
I think there's going to be more. I think that it's going to be more of they told everybody who's in it that they're the only one, that they're the special one that made it through, and that they're the only, and there's really however many soldiers like just lying in wait trying to get to the top. It's a numbers game. Kelsey said Titus had someone because he said something about a girl being raped.
Oh.
Yep. He killed them all. He
Yep.
killed them all because of it. Yep.
So
Apparently I need to do some reread.
he has
That's
a
why
lot
he went on a rage.
Interesting. Okay. So they're just taking broken dudes from past relationships and transforming them into killers of the gold. That's interesting. Yeah, Titus has been a favorite of mine from the get-go. Mostly just because of the way he works. He automatically created a little army of his own and started just taking whatever he wanted, and I just love him. Interesting. Does anybody have anything else we haven't touched on yet?
We did touch on it, but like I want to expound on it is
Please.
Sembro, because So I said I took notes and I was coming ready with a quote, a la Flora's request from forever ago, but I left all my notes at home and I'm at the shop. So, um, but I think that Severo is really interesting because when Darrow sees him with the wolf or the howling and stuff, and then he's like, "Why do they follow you?" And he's like, "Well, I killed their leader." And he's like, "But don't worry, I won't come after you." And like kind of winks at him. Like I think that's really telling because it's like, well, it will like so he. This is before Darrow, I think, had really gained a lot of traction. He had like 3 marks at this time or something like that. So he was on his way but not fully there and like recognized as like leadership. And I think that that's interesting that he just so willingly devoted himself to him for seemingly no real reason. And then also the way that he made that comment, it just gives me like, ooh, I don't know. It makes me feel like, what are you like? You would kill him though if it benefited you, but like why? What's the benefit? So does he know he's a red? That's what I want to know. Like, can he tell or something? Like there's something there, and I think he's really interesting, and I think he's really resourceful, and I think just as the other golds underestimate him, he's like an underestimated character. I think he's going to have a bigger role to play. Sorry, that was a lot.
No, I like it. And it's making me do another comparison to Mistborn in a lot of ways. And I'm trying to pin who I think it is. Um, huh. Yeah, I like Severo, like the quiet but well thought out, smart mouth. Um, hmm.
He's a little screw loosey.
Yeah. Do you think that Severo may be the only one who could be like Darrow's true equal among the Golds?
No, because I don't think we've met everybody yet. There's still the Jackal, who's, just killing people left and right. We haven't met him yet.
Right.
But by what we've
Right,
seen
right.
so far, you have Cassius, who's like a powerhouse, right? But not really come to power. You have Darrow,
Right.
who has a nickname. You had Titus, who didn't he have a nickname that they were calling him? Or was it just Titus?
I think it was just Titus. I don't think he had a nickname.
Yeah, I don't recall him having a nickname. Is he the one that peed himself though? I think they
No.
like they made a point to like point out the fact that somebody wet themselves right after the
It was somebody in
oh,
Titus's crew. It was like his original crew. It wasn't Titus.
oh,
But I think
apparently
that
I need
that
to
is
reread
telling
this section.
that Darrow has this reputation of being a reaper, right? Titus obviously was known for slaughtering people, and
Mhm.
now the Jackal is known for something really similar as well, right? Just being this like destructive powerhouse. And what if the Jackal's also a red? Because Darrow's a red, Titus was a
Don't
red.
they mention that he's somebody's son? He's the
Oh, they do, don't they? Like the prime
Yeah.
minister of them or
Yeah.
whoever he is.
somebody
Whatever.
important.
Mhm.
Well, never mind.
Because I
There's
thought the
nothing.
same thing going through the chapter before they made that distinction.
Never mind.
Kelsey
Delete
says,
that
yeah,
from
he's
the
the son of some leader dude.
So Juan asked where we left off at part 3. There was a sword fight between Cassius and Darrow
Mhm.
because Cassius finds out that Darrow did kill his brother because the Jackal told him.
Right.
So he's obviously now going to lose a friend, or as close to a friend that he's made there.
Hmm?
I'm curious to see how that divide. He's like, I mean, it's already creating a divide in their group. So now we're left to see how leadership is going to be changed. And does Cassius try to lead on his own, or does he go and follow the Jackal?
Ooh. Ooh.
I
So
think
many
Cassius
things.
is proven not to be a leader in and of himself. He's a follower. He's a second in command.
Yeah. I was trying to make a movie comparison for Cassius, and
Oh,
he's sort of like, but I can't pick it. So basically what I'm trying to put it in as is um he's sort of like maybe it's Revenge of the Nerds. He's just like the assumed tough guy, right? Like he comes from a good background and he's great looking and he's like all the things. He's like the Adonis, but like at some point that doesn't get him as far as he needs to go. And he has to step down. And whether or not he decides to forgive and like become and then like team back up at some point, or he just becomes like the natural enemy from here on out. I can't figure out yet, but I knew from the get-go that he wasn't going to A, they weren't always going to be tight. He was going to find out eventually, right? And B, um, there's no way he wins, right? There's no way that he can stay a leader, especially like somebody like that always gets kind of once you get taken off your seat, there's like this whole like having to work it out. Like I thought everything was just going to be perfect for me all the time. So I'm interested to see where part four takes us with that.
Your description of what who he reminded you of, not Revenge of the Nerds, but you made me think of Emilio Estevez in Breakfast Club.
yes.
I mean, yeah, that's fair actually. Maybe less heat from his dad, but yeah, I think similar.
Or maybe not, because he said, he was making the plea that he has to, especially he can't just be known for his brother's death and like, oh my gosh, it's because his dad did all this stuff and so maybe
shit.
Mm. Hmm. I love when you guys get going. This is good stuff. Did we read let's see. Arch Governor of Mars for the leader dude. Thank you, Juan. Well done. Kelsey said Cassian's family biggest rival is the family the jackal is from. True.
So do you
So
think team up just to get through the
unforeseen partnerships?
Or he'll just, take this as a gift from the jackal and fight Darrow and then try to take over himself.
Mm.
So I don't think Cassian will too much.
Jacko is the arch governor. Oh, yeah, arch governor's son. So I don't think Cassian will team with him. Okay, interesting. Can't wait. Can't wait. What I like about this book, which doesn't necessarily make it great for us, is that there's not a lot of like crazy mystery, right? Like things are just kind of unfolding and it's good. I felt more confused and had more theory when we were talking about books like Mistborn. Um, this tends to kind of just be rolling and things are good. And it feels like it's almost harder to create the what ifs conversations around it. Um, am I the only one that feels that way, or
No.
are we all feeling a little bit like it's kind of straightforward? Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Boom. It's an amazing book so far. It's quite a page turner. Um, and I am okay. So, before I go into this, because I'm about to sidebar, does anybody have anything else that we haven't touched on for part three yet that we just need to cover?
I have something, but it's just a little pet peeve about
Please.
Something that was in the writing, but it's not pertaining to like the storyline or anything.
Fire away.
Okay, but really, it's a nerd pet peeve, and it's also it's like off topic, but it's because when they were talking about the heads of the places like Minerva and Neptune and Mars and all these things, they described Neptune as a woman, right? So they changed her character to a woman, and I immediately was like, "What?" And then they said that whoever it was had the face of Medusa on their shield, right? So immediately my brain goes, well, but they said Neptune was a female, so Medusa technically doesn't exist because Medusa is a product of Athena cursing her because Poseidon raped her and she was priestess in Athena's temple, which is the Greek version of Neptune and Minerva. And so technically the Medusa should not be on his shield because she technically doesn't exist if Neptune's a woman and couldn't defile Medusa in the first place. Minerva would have no reason to take vengeance on her for being defiled by Neptune. So
Meg, I really missed you last week.
that's right.
I think I think I think we need to call Pierce Brown and get him in on the last. Like, look, bro, you're gonna have to be in the meeting on the next one. We've got some bones to pick.
I'm all for like equal playing
Bravo.
field opportunity. I'm just saying
It's okay.
it doesn't fit with the mythology.
Listen, bravo for A, knowing that, and B, catching it. Well done. Well done. And I feel like that is a fair bone to pick, something to air. We will do our best to reach out to @Pierce.Brown here. Let's see. Yep, nope, not on the back. So we'll have to just
Up with your mythology.
DM him on Instagram.
I will write
Well
him a
done.
letter. And
Yeah, like, sorry, bro. Change it all. Well done. That's awesome.
Okay, what's your
That's-
sidebar?
Good catch. Okay, so this book is awesome. Juan said that's deep, and I didn't catch it either. Laughy face. I love it. So this book has been amazing. There was some early talk about people being on board for staying in this series as we move on. I think everybody got their book recommendations in for our mystery thriller genre coming up next month, potentially. I was going to go ahead and make the little spinny wheel video and announce the next book right after this meeting, although I guess I could do it now. I don't think we have to publicly announce them anymore. So is there anybody who's considering using their veto before we move on to another genre?
Can we just put it up to a vote with the people in this call? Because I'm going to finish reading the series regardless, whether we
Right.
continue to or not.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but if we want to move to a different genre or not and just decide.
I will
here.
say that you cannot read book 2 without immediately wanting to go into book 3. The ending of book 2 makes you want to go into book 3 immediately. Just a heads up on that. So if you guys want to take that break for now, that's fine. But I can guarantee you, everyone will want to jump straight into book 3 after book 2.
Okay. Here's my only concern about any of this, and it's really because 2 of our potentially 7 now, hi mom, 8 members are like way ahead. Christy and Juan are like ahead, and it means that like they sit through these meetings for the next 3 months and just go, well, can't say nothing. As long as everybody's okay, I don't want to lose everybody over the monotony of like, hey, we read these books already. So, I feel like, how do you feel like that vote should go? You just want to like all in favor and everybody vote instead of do the veto game?
I have a
Okay.
suggestion really quick before we vote
Fire away. Okay.
to include it as an option for the voting.
Okay.
What if we still continue the cycle of genres, but the next sci-fi book, we don't do the spinning wheel and we go to book 2? And then we can decide if we want to immediately go to book 3, or do we want to rotate through the genres again and then do book 3? Because I do really like it and enjoy it, but I don't want to become so consumed by it and then get bored with the sci-fi thing and want to go read thriller and stuff that might be on our list. And B, I really want Amy to participate. And I think that she's waited a while for a thriller book, and I think it would be nice to cycle again through the genres and then have the next sci-fi book just be set at book 2. So that's my vote for the vote, is that we cycle through and next sci-fi book is book 2.
I'm going to counter Megan.
Okay.
Because I think waiting to cycle all the way through is potentially 3 months, depending on the size of the books that we read.
Right.
And then we're going to pick up book 2 3 months down the road. I know I personally wouldn't. I personally will not wait 3 months to read it. And I know.
Yeah, me either.
Kelsey's not going to. Mom's not going to. So, and most of the people that are left to vote have already read it. So I say if we're not going to jump into it, I'm all for moving on to mystery thriller and just doing independent reads for the rest of the series.
Okay, I'm just gonna make a joke real quick. It feels like the Wheeler Hernandez team has just become the Monsanto of the Shadow Society book club. We're gonna get voted through based on um just kidding. It was just funny.
You have Lauren to blame for my
I know.
obsession with
This is all
all
my
of this reading again. So it's her
Good.
fault.
No, hey, this is why we did it, right? This is what we wanted to have happen. So, okay. Okay. So, okay. So so a couple months ago we decided that this veto thing was that we were going to stick to rotating genres unless somebody used their veto. I feel like we should just stick to that plan. I feel like if somebody wants to go ahead and veto now and we go ahead and say, I want to move on to book two, here's my argument, we stick to that plan. Otherwise, we continue on through the genre. It's a weird thing to do, especially with books that run in a series like this, because it can either take over the next 6 months of our reading for just one author, one series, or we break it up somehow and then we lose half of the people in the group because some people want to stick to the series, other people want to move on. Yeah, hi Megan, go.
Okay, I have a thought.
I love it.
So, okay, since I'm doing audiobook and I do my deliveries with it, like I have to stop. You know, I've been reading Pride and Prejudice, listening to Pride and Prejudice and like other things. So like what if we do what if we do the second book as the next book? And then if we decide we want to do the third book, we do the third book, but at like an accelerated pace.
Okay.
Like do both of them in the month instead of 1 month for.
Right. Because I can easily get through one of those books in a week. If you know what I mean?
I can
Right.
get through one of those books in 2 days, so I'm for whatever.
Mom did it one day at the airport, so
Yeah. So like we can make it work, I think, but my only concern is not Juana and Christy because they've already read it, but Nick, you juggling family time, Amy juggling it. Amy's reading along, right?
No. She's only jumping in now if it's mystery thriller or horror. She's trying to get scared and stay scared is basically her reading game right now.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So she'll just kind of jump in. I think the other problem becomes too that she just doesn't read as fast as like we try to keep up with. And though it's not fast for most, it's for somebody who hasn't been reading at all, it's a lot. Plus we've got these little kids that are running around and they are distracting to say the least. So we'll see her in and out, I think, but we shouldn't base any of this around when she's coming. She'll just jump in and be a part of it when she can. Okay. All right. So we have to make a decision as to how we want to handle this. It sounds like most people are either already done with or leaning towards wanting to go to book two. Is there anybody who's saying no to that otherwise? And Juan and Christy, maybe this is where you want to be like, yeah, I've already done this. Maybe let's move on. So if nobody pipes in, I'm going to give it 30 seconds. If nobody else pipes in, there's no point in spinning the wheel. We just move on to book two, I think is the way it sounds like it's going. Nobody's arguing. Okay. Hand up if you're down for book two. 1, 2, 3. Lauren is.
I'm voting mystery thriller move on.
Juan's in space. Where is he playing baseball? That's amazing. Baseball on the moon. Okay. So we're just gonna go book two. All in favor? Aye. Yes. Yay. Yay. Nay. Okay.
Are
Cool.
we keeping the same pace or are we speeding it up?
Uh.
Or to be determined.
So this is book two.
Okay.
And it is 400 and It's pretty similar to Red Rising. It's a
Yeah,
little longer.
A little bit longer.
Is it split into
442.
parts? Is
mine's
it split
four.
into parts?
I think this one is, but I don't think as nicely as
Juan says he'll re-listen to book 2.
there's 3 part. Oh, is it in the front? I don't know if it is. No, it's not. There
Can you
is
Google
parts in
that?
here. Yes, there is parts. But then
Okay,
we
there
get
is
when you
parts.
go to book 3, that one is almost 600 pages. So they
Okay.
get longer as you go.
Good to know. He gets once he got going, he got wordy. Okay.
And if we read
Okay.
book 2, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, we're gonna want to read book 3.
Right.
So we're asking, do we want
We
to
should-
commit to 1,000 pages right now?
Yes.
So I think if we said we were going to commit, then we have to speed it up, right?
Yeah. I'd say both in the same month.
Is there
As the goal.
Yeah, I
is
think
there
that's doable.
anybody who thinks we should consider adding a second book in there as like I don't know how to do it, but um something to
buffer?
like a buffer. And
Palette cleanser?
I mean simultaneous, not cutting it, not
The
interrupting,
rest
but
of us already do that.
I know. Well, that's why I was wondering, like, I don't know if that helps or not. So listen, I'm down for whatever. What I don't want to do is lose people or like, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible with this thing. I'm going to go ahead and get book 2. Um, I'm also, I'm also reading a horror book right now that's supposed to be that I've been sort of waiting on Amy for, but does anybody want to go dual book or does that sound too confusing?
I'm always dual book.
I'm good with dual book.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm dual book also.
I'm always
Okay.
reading more than one book. Yes.
You all are way cooler than me. So, so I'm going to learn how to do that. Does anybody, I'm really not far enough into the other one because I was trying to stay up on this. Would anybody be interested in jumping in the book I'm already on, or should we pick another one? Should we go ahead and spin the wheel, see what it comes up with, and maybe go dual book? How do we want to try?
I would say if we're gonna do dual book, then do the other book mystery thriller.
Just go ahead and spin it and see what happens.
Because mystery
Oh, this
and
just
thrillers typically aren't too long, you know?
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Unless you get like some Stephen King book that's like
100
But that's gonna be
so
under horror anyway.
complicated. Oh yeah.
But it's so vastly different from what we're reading too that
Mm.
it'll be a good dual book read for especially those who aren't used to doing dual book reads.
Ta-da! Okay, so uh, let's just no, but go ask mama. Go. Let's talk about how should we just split the meeting then? We just plan to do 30 minutes with our Red Rising series, and then do the other 30 with the other book, and let's figure out which one it would be. I've got
Spin the wheel. Spin
I've
the
got
wheel.
I've got something like 20 titles in here.
Nope.
So the best way for me to randomize this is to spin it once and then hit the button and let it do its 8 seconds deal. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it now as we are sitting here. Boop, spin and hit it. Is it backwards for everybody?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Home is where the bodies are. Oh, I've read this one. This is a good one.
Of course you have.
Home is where the bodies are. Okay, cool. So, Home is where the bodies are is our second next book. So at least that way, those of you who have already read into book 2 will also still have something to read for book club. It'll make me have to double down, which will be really interesting. And it potentially does mean that I could get Amy on board with another book. So we may see her too. Okay. So is everybody cool with that plan? We didn't lose anybody today? Nobody's yelling. I haven't seen anybody just cut themselves out. Audiobooks are key for doubling down. That is 100% my plan, Juan. I agree with you. I'm going to listen to one and read the other, and we'll just keep going. And so, okay, cool. Well, then that's the plan. Let's go ahead and do them both. We just made things really interesting. I'm interested to see if after these we decide to go dual book again or just slow it down.
Nick, if
Cool.
you're
Does
new
anybody?
to audiobooks, I recommend trying like 1.25 or 1.3 speed because it,
Yeah.
like, if your brain works the way like mine does, well, I don't think it, never mind. But if you're new, it's almost too slow at just one like normal speed because it's so slow and it draws it
Right.
out and I lose interest in what they're saying and I don't retain the information. When it's sped up, it's more like real speech.
Mm.
And it's
Okay.
quicker. It's a little bit easier to gather. So if you're doubling down or if you're doing audiobooks and you're newer to them, definitely recommend, adjusting the speed level to where you think it might be just a little bit too fast for you to understand, but then you'll get comfortable to it and it'll become a good pace.
Okay. Good advice. I appreciate it. I will definitely try that. Hi. Anybody else have anything club related or anything else you'd like to say today? No. It's a quiet day. The last two meetings have been quieter, which is why I think it's awesome that we're about to double down on books and give us multiple things to talk about. Don't forget to take notes over the next couple of weeks because you may forget something from one book that you wanted to say while we're talking about the other one. So that's definitely something I'm going to try to start doing, or just like highlighting and putting tabs in my books. Um, I guess that, like as always, I think we're at a really good number right now. I think if we add Amy in, Flar comes back, we're probably right about where we want to be. I don't know if getting beyond like 10 of us makes it too much, but I would also say to you at the same time, like if you know somebody's going to get really excited about the book that's coming up or is just looking for something like this, definitely invite them. It is open to everybody. Um, I am I'm finally done with this move. So I apologize that things have been a little quieter than normal. I'll try to put up some like little things that I find about the books that we're reading on the Discord and be a little bit more involved and have better questions than just relying on good old Chat GPT. But things have finally calmed down. I'm going to have my life put together. Yes, Megan.
One last thing that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So because I watched last week's video, is there a way to put the recording in gallery view so it's not just whoever is speaking? Because sometimes we add in facial expressions, like you can like see everyone's facial expression. So it's like you'll comment like, "Oh, I know your face," like I know you know something, but then we don't get to see what the face is. So if we start to have people viewing it or watching it to catch up, it might just give some context to it. Unless everybody's like, "No, I don't want to be on camera all the time, only when I'm talking," because I don't.
Let me find out. I would imagine that's a possibility. It's probably just a matter of me clicking a button. But I will find out and definitely let you all know, and I'll just make it happen for the next one. Obviously, this one's going to be like the others still. But if I could change it, I definitely will.
How's your meeting going?
It's going good.
I was like, who is that?
Who is
Okay,
that?
good.
After
It's a little girl that wants to know if I'm almost done.
She is. We're giving her back to you right now.
Yeah.
can we go buy
Awesome.
after this?
Maybe.
Okay. In that case, great job today, gang. I think this book, like I said, this book hasn't been super challenging for anybody. I don't think anybody's got any major mysteries still to work out. So it'll be fun. It'll be an awesome book to pair with something else in between. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, hit us up. Let us know in Discord. Otherwise, I love you all. You're amazing. This is always fun to do. I definitely still look forward to Wednesdays. And this has been the meeting number 8 of the Shadow Society Book Club. I love you all. Have an awesome day. Juan, tell your kid good luck at baseball. Megan, keep sending us guitar videos. We love it. And you all have an awesome day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.